The Dark Elves are one of the world's foremost naval powers, with mighty Black Arks that allow them to control access to several bodies of water, from the Sea of Malice, upon which the most powerful Druchi cities reside, to the boiling sea that separates Naggaroth from the broken lands in the west, to the mysterious Underworld Sea that runs throughout the continent. Each of these seas provide the Dark Elves with resources crucial to their empire, or access to the oceans of the world. The Sea of Malice lies at the heart of Druchi power, with the major cities of Naggaroth, Hargineth, and Haggraif all positioned on its coast. It is one of the most well-travelled bodies of water in the entire world, with Druchi trade vessels, slaver ships, and raiding parties all traversing the sea. It is extremely rare to find anyone besides the Dark Elves venture here, as it can only be entered through the Sea of Chill, which is guarded by the fleets of Karankar, or through the vast underground network of rivers and lakes known as the Underworld Sea. The waters of the Sea of Malice are teeming with life, and allow the Dark Elves access to an almost endless supply of fish, ensuring that the inhabitants of the great cities have food all year round. This sea is not without danger though, for numerous sea creatures roam the area, some of which are slain for their scales or meat, and others which are captured and trained to serve the Druchi on the battlefield. Any faction who could claim dominance over the great cities on the coast of the Sea of Malice would have an incredible power base from which to strike out at the enemies of the Druchi across the world. The boiling sea lies to the west of Naggaroth, a region of islands that was created many millennia ago, long before the recorded history of the elves began. It was formed by an immense earthquake that ripped apart the coasts bordering the far sea that lies to the west. The incredible force of the earthquake and its aftershocks toppled the coastal regions into the sea, creating a patchwork of islands that now run along the southwestern coast of the continent. The earthquakes also tore deep into the seabed, forming fissures that would never heal, and which now spew forth endless streams of molten lava from deep within the world's core. This heats the waters, creating great bursts of explosive vapors, and quite literally boiling the sea, giving rise to the region's name. Of the many Druchi warships, only the great Black Arks dare to enter the inhospitable and terrifying region, for the danger posed by the sea and the creatures that reside within are very real. Those that do venture here do so for one reason: to capture the monstrous sea creatures that over the centuries have become an important part of the Dark Elf fleet. The mineral-rich waters mean that the sea teems with life, at least in those areas where the toxic vapors and acidic content are less concentrated. Many savage predators, most notably the ferocious helldrakes and immense sea dragons, can be found within the boiling sea, and they have long served the Druchi as vessels of war. It is now quite common to find many Black Arks accompanied by flotillas of primeval terrors, sourced from the boiling sea. Terrors which do the bidding of the Druchi and pose a threat to all who cross them on the open seas. Of the many seas across the Warhammer world, perhaps the most mysterious and least explored is the Underworld Sea. For centuries, the Dark Elf raiding fleets that departed the Sea of Malice were restricted in their opportunities for raiding to the coasts of Ulthuan, Norsca, and Bretonnia via the Great Ocean. That, however, changed when they discovered the Underworld Sea, a huge underground water system that links the Sea of Malice to Naggaroth's western coast and the Far Sea. This vast subterranean network is a treacherous place, consisting of labyrinthian mazes of dark tunnels and strange caverns, and is perhaps more akin to a series of underground rivers and lakes than a sea in the traditional sense. Movement is dangerous through even the most well-travelled of routes, for cave-ins and flash floods are a constant danger to those who attempt to navigate passage through the sea. To add to the peril, there are many strange and cruelly predatory creatures that inhabit the subterranean realm. Those who dare to travel the waterways are often accompanied by guides from the most accomplished explorers of the Underworld Sea, members of the Shade tribes. These mountain dwellers long ago departed from the great cities, choosing to live a simpler life in the wilds. These explorers have mapped out numerous paths between the far sea and the Sea of Malice, and discovered a number of gateways into the Underworld Sea from the surface. Yet even they admit that their knowledge is limited, and that only a small fraction of the sea's secrets have been discovered. Some of these explorers even believe that an entire civilization, as yet unknown to the wider world, dwells deep in the caverns, though no definitive proof has ever been found. There are several major gateways used for access by the Druchi. In the far north, in the Iron Mountains, is the Hex Gate, one of the most well-travelled gates due to its proximity to Hag Graif and access to the Sea of Malice. Further south, near the Red Desert, we find the Gate of Heaven. This gateway leads to a lake nestled within a small mountain chain, but has no access to the sea. Within the Blackspine Mountains to the south, there are several well-travelled gates. The Doom Gate, the Sewer Gate, and the Witch Gate. These all provide access to the network on the main passage to the Boiling Sea. The southernmost gate, yet discovered, is the Wrath Gate, which lies to the north of the ruined ancient city of Quintex. This is the final gate prior to the sea opening up to the Pitch Flow, which connects to the Boiling Sea. The Dark Elves are many things: cruel, vindictive, aggressive. But they are also great adventurers, explorers, and naval navigators, having discovered and explored many seas that other races are yet to find. Do you believe the tales of the lost civilization living in the caverns of the Underworld Sea? Do you think Creative Assembly might implement the subterranean passage in some form for the Immortal Empire's map, to allow the Dark Elves easy access to the far sea, and hopefully the coast of Cathay? If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share and subscribe. The interaction will satiate the YouTube algorithm and help this video reach a wider audience. Now before I go, a quick shout out to my patrons. I'd like to thank Hot Apple Pie and Solareth Magnetar. You can join them on my Patreon or by becoming a member here on YouTube. I'm Grey Tiger. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.